It's the Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. JC Cooley. All right.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
Yeah. Dr. J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Having a little difficult.
Yes, and you're not on screen. I think you're having issues with your video, but that's okay. I'm Dr. Michelle Cooley. Welcome to It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And we are so excited to have this guest today. He's a returning guest, and we also have another guest who's the first time on this show. So we are on over 80 live streaming platforms, and whatever platform that you're watching the show, please join in the show, provide comments, ask questions, and just give us your feedback and just be part of the show. So let's start with the title of the show. It's called the Omega-6, Omega-3 ratio. So we're having a conversation with Dr. Michael Garko. He's a credentialed nutritionist and spokesman and nutritional consultant for Strauss Naturals, and Stuart Tomc. He's the former Globe Educator and brand ambassador for Nordic Naturals. We're going to talk about balance of fats, inflammation and disease, modern diets, restoring balance. As mentioned before, Dr. Garko, he has produced and hosted two popular health talk radio shows called Let's Talk Nutrition, which aired for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week in over 500 cities, coast to coast, and was streamed around the world. He believes nutrition is the driving force by which health is created, sustained, and reclaimed. And he's also a spokesman and nutritional consultant for Strauss Naturals. And we have Stuart Tomc. He's the former global educator and brand ambassador for Nordic Naturals. He was vice president of human nutrition for CV Sciences, maker of Plus CBD, and vice president of North American Urban Spice, maker of Oregano P73. Stuart has over 30 years of experience in the dietary supplement industry and has helped sell $1 billion in supplements and has appeared in over 6,000 radio, TV, and podcast interviews. Please welcome Dr. Michael Garko and Stuart Tomc to the show.
Dr. Michelle, thank you so much. It's great to be with you. I I'm excited about this show today. I've been on your show now several times, and I brought along with me my closest, dearest friend and colleague for the past 25 years, literally. He's an expert in what we're going to talk about today. And what we're going to talk about, to some, may sound a little odd.
Yes.
But we're going to try to make this simple. And you're going to see by the time we're done today that knowing about this omega-6, omega-3 ratio, if somebody's never heard that before, they're saying, what is that? Well, you'll know what that is, and you're going to come to learn and appreciate and understand how essential it is to your health, wellness, and well-being, and how fundamental it is to age successfully as you move through the life cycle. And keeping in balance, you're going to hear Stuart and I talk a lot about balance, the notion of balance. One of the things that the body tries to do each and every day is maintain what we call homeostasis or balance. It struggles mightily to do that in spite of ourselves, because we have bad diets, bad lifestyle with lots of stress, not enough sleep, and you go down that list, and the body's always trying to correct for that. And then, of course, there's disease that throws the body out of balance. Knowing about this omega-6, omega-3 is really fundamental to trying to correct that imbalance and to maintain it. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, great. So I'm going to let you gentlemen have the floor. And the first question really is, what is the ideal omega-6 to omega-3 ratio in the human diet? What is it? And how does it compare to the average ratio found in modern Western diets?
I'm going to let Stuart answer that, but we got to set a little context here. Stuart will set the context by telling you what this ratio is and what it means biologically and so on, what's ideal. So he'll set the context. Right, Stuart?
Yes, Dr. Garko, it's so great to be with you. It's always nice to see you, my friend, and Dr. Michelle and Dr. Cooley. It's such an honor to be on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you and to join my mentor and my best friend, Dr. Garko. Well, it's a really great question. Just to sort of set the stage, what we're talking about today, this omega-6-3 ratio, it kind of mimics the history of food. And we're going to dive into that. But before we get there, let me just answer the direct question, okay? This number, the omega-6-3 ratio, is the most important number for health and longevity that you don't know, that you will know, that will soon be on your standard blood panel. It is a number that tells you about the ratio of largely pro-inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids in cells relative to anti-inflammatory omega-3s in your cell membrane. And this measurement, this balance between omega-6 and omega-3 ends up being like the check engine light for systemic inflammation. Hello, Dr. Cooley. It's nice to see you, sir.
Yes, it's an absolute pleasure. And this is going to be an absolute great discussion. I'm having a little technical difficult at my end, but I figured it out. So. Oh,
I just saw your smiling face and I interrupted. I just wanted to say hello. It's great to see you, sir. So just getting back to answering the question, then I'll kick it back to you, Dr. Garko. But this number, I just want everybody to hear this, is the next most important number for health and longevity that you don't know that you will know. If you know your LDL cholesterol, your HDL, your blood pressure, your triglycerides, this is the other information, the missing link for you to better understand successful aging. So what we want when it comes to omega-6 and omega-3 is a balance. Ideally, I'm going to use my fists here to make a little illustration. Imagine my left fist is omega-6. It's essential. It comes from seeds and nuts and animals that eat seeds and nuts and seed oils. It's essential, which means our bodies don't make it. We have to get it through the diet, and it's largely pro-inflammatory. Imagine my right fist is omega-3. Now, the omega-3s come from green leafy vegetables or algae or animals that eat greens. We want omega-6 and omega-3 to be in balance. 1-to-1 is a perfect score. 2-to-1 would be a B. 3-to-1, that would be considered passing, right? That's a C or a D. But anything above 3-to-1 is what we call the danger zone. Now, you want to be 3-to-1, 2-to-1, or 1-to-1. The average person listening to the show in the United States, and I know you're streaming around the world, Dr. Cooley, the average person listening to the show is 22-to-1. Passing would be 3-to-1. 22-to-1 is a horrific failure. And you're going to learn from Dr. Garko why this will impact your entire life, because it's on a cellular level, that this is the measurement of the pro to anti-inflammatory lipids that make up every one of our cells that make us up. Dr. Garko?
Yeah, thank you, Stuart. And that was, such a nice description here, why this ratio, this number, this which will become common in your lab tests at some point in the future. We can use different metaphors to explain these they're fatty acids, they're fats. And fatty acids are the building blocks of fats. So think of omega-6 and omega-3 fats like a gas pedal and brakes in your body's inflammation system. You need both in the right balance. It's not that omega-6 is horrible and bad for you. No, you need it. It's important to have in your body, but what we want them to be is in balance. So what has happened over time, and with the modern diet, which is an ultra-processed diet, loaded with seed oils and other ingredients that boost that omega-6 level beyond a safe point or a safe zone, and causes your body to be out of balance. When it's out of balance, what happens is you now inspire inflammation. And that inflammation is in this, what this omega-6, omega-3 measures is the inflammation in the cell membrane. Every cell in your body has a membrane around it. And so most people, probably most of you watching and listening today, are getting your omega-3 fatty acids probably from eating fish, or you might be taking a fish oil product, right? And that's fine. As we come back and talk about this again, we'll tell you about some of those oils and olive oil and whatnot. We'll get into that later. So what you're trying to do is keep omega-6, omega-3 in balance so that you don't create inflammation. Inflammation is the center of, it's always at the scene of the crime. You'll see it with every disease process, and it's correlated and integrated into every hallmark of aging. Inflammation itself is a hallmark of aging. And so what makes this ratio and measuring it, we can do that very easily now, knowing what your number is, as Stuart said, that most people don't know. Once you know that number, you're going to know how much inflammation is in your cell membrane, which reflects how much is in systemically. It's a proxy for the systemic inflammation. And you don't have to be young or old for it to be high. I had a client, 26 years old. He had a ratio of 60-to-1. He was literally a forest fire inside of his body, and he was pretty sick.
Dr. Mike, hold that thought. We got to take a station break. Now,
sure.
Regardless of which platforms you were watching us on, was it E360 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, and over 84 other live platforms. Welcome to the show. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do, just go to the comments on the platform you're watching us on, ask any questions. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after break.
Dr. J.C. Cooley. It's the J. Cooley Show. It's your life.
Hi, I'm I'm Dr. Michelle Cooley. Heart disease research saves lives. It's that simple. Thanks to medical advancements funded by the American Heart Association, more women are surviving heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular diseases than ever before. But there's still so much work to do.
Hi, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm raising funds to support life-saving research because every heartbeat is worth fighting for. In honor of Women's History Month, please join me in support of the American Heart Association and women's health.
Welcome to Viridian Christian University, where faith and learning come together to transform lives. At VCU, we believe that education is more than just academics. It's about fostering a community of growth, integrity, and purpose. Whether you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, VCU offers flexible, affordable, and 100% online degree programs that cater to your busy life. Our innovative platform provides a personalized learning experience, empowering you to thrive in today's ever-evolving world. Join a global community of learners guided by an experienced faculty who are committed to your success. With VCU, you're not just earning a degree, you're preparing for a future that integrates faith, leadership, and service. Viridian Christian University, educating with purpose, transforming lives. Learn more at ViridianChristianUniversity.com. ViridianChristianUniversity.com.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you what, just sitting here during the time that I'm having technical difficulties with my screen and my vision, I heard great conversations, and I know that we are getting ready to have a lot more. And so I encourage our viewers out there to be part of this conversation. You can get some free advice today. And the products, I think, are absolutely fantastic. So, but if you want to be part of this again, let me tell you, all you have to do is go to the platform, watch it, and ask any questions. I promise you we'll get you an answer. Now, Michael, you was talking information throughout the body, information in the legs. I just went through a major problem when I was coming back from Ghana, and my feet, both of them, rolled up so big. I mean, like double, almost tripled in size. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like it was getting ready to explode. So what I did was I found any spot on the plane where I could lay down and kind of elevate them a little bit. But what is if somebody is experiencing that with Omega-3, Omega-6, might not help them at that particular time, but over a period of time, if they have some type of would that, do you think that?
Well, you probably, you had some edema, and it could have been for any number of reasons. Here's the takeaway for the audience today, the basic point, and then Stuart's going to build on this. When this omega-6, omega-3 ratio is out of balance, and we can measure it with a very simple, we even have a test that you can do it at home. What it creates is a chronic low-grade inflammation. You can't even feel it. It's now recognized as a central biological process that's driving many of the most prevalent chronic diseases of aging, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, arthritis, neurodegeneration, cancer. You can keep going down the list. This process, this low-grade inflammation, is sometimes called inflammaging, and it's influenced by strong dietary patterns that Stuart was mentioned, where you're eating too much these foods that are just loaded with seed oils and other ingredients that raise that omega-6 level at a range that puts that ratio out of balance. So if you can manage and moderate the inflammation through improving this omega-6, omega-3 ratio, that's going to be critical to supporting and maintaining your health and wellness and promoting successful aging. What Stuart can shed a light on is what the science tells us. This is not my opinion or Stuart's opinion. This is the established knowledge of science, right, Stuart?
Yeah, this is now finally becoming settled after many, many, many years. Omega-3, Dr. Cooley, is the most studied dietary supplement there is. And there was a paper that came out last year that really took everybody by storm. There's a big database in the United Kingdom called the UK Biobank. Doctor, it's 500,000 people. It's an enormous data set. And they looked at 85,000 people. And they published that higher omega-6 to omega-3, like most people have, is associated with an increase in all cause, cancer, cardiovascular disease mortality. So again, correlation, not causation. And then recently, and Dr. Garko and I were discussing this last night, Dr. Cooley, the mainstream cardiologists that have this risk assessment, they call it the pooled risk analysis. They just added this index, the omega-3 index, to the list of risk factors. So listen to this. They said age is the biggest risk factor, right? The older we are, the greater the risk. Second would be smoking cigarettes. Don't ever do that, right? 3, blood pressure. 4, LDL cholesterol. 5, the number we're talking about, the omega-3 index. So it ends up being twice as predictive as LDL cholesterol. And having a high omega-3 index is as much of a risk reduction as quitting smoking. So to answer your question about the inflammatory response that you had from the travel, I love Dr. Garko. I love you so much, and I love your answer, right? It's not going to be a panacea, but there's a lot of downstream inflammatory stress that happens as a result of like a big edema attack like that. Right, doctor?
100%.
The inflammatory system gets hammered, which it does all day long. If we are in balance, not out of balance, the body mounts an appropriate inflammatory response where the inflammatory cascade gets turned on, but then it gets turned down. And most importantly, it gets to be resolved. That's what we're talking about. How do we modulate the inflammatory response so that it turns on, it turns down, and it gets resolved? I hope that makes sense, Dr. Garko. Do you agree with that?
It makes sense. And again, you know, it almost is cliche to say, for example, you know, stress is bad. Everybody knows stress is bad. Inflammation is bad. Well, yeah, it's bad, but it's said so often, people don't really grasp how significant it is in your life to figure out how do you manage and moderate the level of inflammation in your body. And because it's connected to your immune system. As you age is a risk factor for the immune system to become less efficient. That's called immunosenescence. That means that you're probably going to be running higher inflammation levels, notwithstanding your diet and lifestyle. So as we age, inflammation is going to tend to rise, not drop as you age. So you've got to figure out, what can I do? What can I do right now today to lower that inflammation? within my clinical practice, when I measure all my clients, I measure the amount of inflammation with their Omega-6, Omega-3. It takes about four months, 120 days, and they reduce their inflammation. I put them on a protocol. No matter what condition they have, they could be obese, they have heart disease, kidney disease, cancer. I've had all kinds of clients. They generally feel better, and they're more responsive not only to the nutritional therapy that I'm giving them, but to the medical therapy that their doctors are giving them. Inflammation is always in the way of any therapy that's going to be administered to you. So I would almost beg your audience to please know what that number is, and we can always tell you and show you how you can get a hold of it, knowing what that number is.
Dr. Garko, really quick, going back to Dr. Cooley, that was a long flight, sir. Coming back, right? That was a long flight. One of Dr. Garko's other friends who you're going to meet on the show, Colonel Dr. Michael Lewis, MD, MPH, MBA, you're going to love him. West Point grad, Army Ranger. Every time he speaks, he reminds us, and this is important, that stress, he says, is the same as chemotherapy. Stress is the same as, and when he said that to me recently, I was like, wow. And you put your body through a lot of stress on that flight. And that's why he had a little bit of the edema. And right. So he says, let's modulate the downstream effects of that stress, which is similar to chemotherapy.
So
I'm going to take this call, but you guys talk among each other.
Okay, sure. So stress, Stuart makes a wonderful point. Stress and inflammation pal around together. They're always they're always at the scene of the crime, Stuart. Mm-hmm. Stress is a biological response. If you're under stress, sometimes you may think you're not under stress, but you are, right? Because you acclimate to it. And stress can be triggered by any number of things: sitting in traffic, having financial issues, relational issues, not feeling well, being sick, not getting enough sleep. That stress response can be triggered and kicked on and left on all day long. Trust me, there's a high correlation between being under stress and high inflammation. And in modern life, people in their day-to-day life is nothing but chronic stress, one day after another to the next. At this stage of the game for me, and Dr. Cooley, you know that how old I am. I'm 81. And I'm just going to tell you, based on my experience as a nutritionist and as a scientist, but on a personal level, I know that managing inflammation makes the quality of my life so much better. And fortunately for me, I've spent the last 30 years learning about nutrition, and or 50 for that matter, learning about it, and I know what to do. That's why Stuart and I are on your show today, to share this with your audience and to get their attention about how critical it is to know this number, this Omega-6, Omega-3 number, because it's associated with inflammation, and we can show you how to lower that inflammation.
I think that is so important. And I'm telling you, we are looking at 44,800 some people on YouTube alone. That's not counting the other platforms, and they are watching. But you know what? Our audience, come on, all of this great information. I know you got some questions. I know you got some questions for these two great men. But I am getting back to the information for a person that's experiencing that's watching this show and don't know what to do. What would be the recommendation that you might tell that person to do right now?
Go ahead, Stuart.
Well, one of the first things that we can do to deal with inflammation is to figure out what it is we are eating that's adding to the omega-6 bucket or the omega-3 bucket. Now, this is something that you can do without a blood test. This is one of the many things. I know Dr. Garko is going to give you some other recommendations, but this is my area of expertise with lipids. So I learned this years ago. I'll share this with the audience. I learned this from Professor Michael Crawford, who runs the Mother and Child Foundation with Desmond Tutu. He's over at Oxford. He wrote a book called The Driving Force, which both Dr. Garko and I think is one of the best books ever written on nutrition. I'm sure you're going to pull it off of your library right there.
I got it right behind me.
From Sir Michael Crawford. But when he said this at a lecture once years ago, Dr. Garko, you would have loved this. It was many, many, many years ago. I heard him. He was at the International Society for the Study of Fatty Acids and Lipids. And I'm sitting there with all the top omega-3 scientists, and he says, omega-6s come from seeds. Omega-3s come from greens. And it was so simple, right? And I sat there and I thought, I'm a subject matter expert, I think. And then I'm like, I love simple, powerful, profound, like Aesop's fables. And so he asked us, he said, try to imagine back in antiquity, how many seeds would people eat relative to greens? And then you imagine people today, how many greens do you eat relative to the seeds and seed oils that you eat? And then he taught us omega-6 and omega-3, they compete. They compete for what? Conversion and placement. What did he mean by that? They share the exact same enzyme in the body. So if you take a lot of omega-6s, that's going to slow down your body converting omega-3s. They're competing for conversion and placement. And then he gave us this great analogy for placement. You'll love this. He said, imagine a revolving door, like you're in a big downtown city, and you've got all of these people that want to get a job in the building. And on one side, all the people, those would be the omega-6s. And on the other side would be the omega-3s. You like this visual, Dr. Garko?
Yeah.
And they're all fighting to get into the turnstile, but they're fighting for a job. What's the job that they want? Placement. Placement where? In the cell membrane. So the second you get an immune inflammatory response, parasite, bacteria, virus, surgical trauma, even eating, bam, phospholipase is this enzyme, and it breaks out the essential fatty acids, the highly unsaturated fatty acids, and whatever's there gets liberated. If you've got more omega-6s relative to omega-3s, we go like this, you're going to produce the pro-inflammatory signals that thicken your blood, increase sensitivity to pain, ouch, clot your blood. But the omega-3s, they do the opposite. They thin the blood and they reduce the sensitivity to pain. Can you visualize that? If they're in balance, you have a healthier response.
Hey, Stu, hold that thought. We got to take a station break. But that was amazing. So we're going to take a station break. And I tell you again, wherever you're watching us at, if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching us on. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Dr. James.
We have arrived at prison house. And I'll tell you what is beautiful out here. The water is so clear. The beach. I am excited. I will keep you informed. This is wonderful. Zanzibar. Yeah, get over here, Randy.
I see why people say you haven't traveled until you've been to Zanzibar. I get it, man. I totally understand. We about to have some fun.
It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. Come on.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's like I thought we had lost you for a second, Stu.
Nope.
I was going saying this is discussion is too great to lose one of the main men. So yeah, I mean, it's a conversation that we're having. I want to talk a little bit more, as I mentioned to you previously, about if a person was having some problems right now and did not know what to do, what advice, recommendations would you put on? I know you had mentioned, Stu, that just kind of like the diet, all that,
Sure.
the food. And I'm curious to hear what Dr. Michael Garko is going to say.
Building on what Stuart just shared with you, people, I get this question. The question that you asked when we went right before we went to break was, and Stuart was giving you an answer, and here's the second part of that answer. What can people do to reduce that inflammation and get this omega-6, omega-3 into balance? And you heard us mention fish oil. So people right away think, well, maybe I'll just go out and eat a lot of fish. Well, you could do that, but at some risk, because as we know, the waters of the planet are contaminated. Heavy metals, mercury, and whatnot. Then you say, okay, I won't eat the fish. I'm going to go buy some fish oil. Well, that's a good idea, but not all fish oil products are equal. Stuart worked for the leading fish oil manufacturer in the world for a number of years, and they make a wonderful product, and it's a great product. But there are other products that might even be a little better. And we're not here to sell you products today. What I'm telling you is that if you're going to try to reduce this, one quick and easy way is to get a high-grade fish oil product, one that will accommodate your biology, one that will accommodate your lifestyle and any sort of medical condition that you have. And there are very few of those kinds of products on the planet. Stuart and I know who and what they are because we've been in this space for decades. So one way to do this is to eat a high-grade fish oil product. Another way is to start to eat a diet that's more of a Mediterranean type diet with lots of fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, legumes. As a matter of fact, the one fish oil product that we have in mind is Stuart dubbed it as a Mediterranean diet in a bottle. That's how powerful this particular product is. And I was raised on a Mediterranean diet, Dr. Cooley. My mom was from Italy, and that's all I ate. And that's all I eat now. It's more of a plant-based diet. Remember, Stuart was talking about the plants and the seeds and whatnot. It's more of a plant-based diet. What we know, you don't need a clinical trial to know this. When you look at all the cultures around the world over the past several hundred years, those cultures where it's more plant-based have less chronic disease, they age better, they live longer, they have better quality of life. Eating a carnivore-dominated diet and an ultra-processed diet is a prescription for early death and disease. I'm just saying, based on the science, that's not my opinion.
And if I can add something to that, Dr. Cooley, Dr. William E. Lands, I never finished a PhD. I am a citizen scientist, but I've been mentored by some of the greatest. And I remember Dr. Lands, and his book is called Fish, Omega-3, and Human Health. Do you remember that one, Dr. Garko?
Right behind
Fish, Omega-3, and Human Health. And he said something, Dr. Cooley, I remember hearing this, again, blew my mind. He said, people that live in maritime cultures on the shore that eat fish die differently than people that live landlocked. He said people that live in maritime cultures generally expire to a hemorrhagic event, like a stroke while you're asleep, as opposed to people that are eating a more animal-based diet, a more omega-6 and grain-based diet that have more thrombotic events. So one thing that I'll do as a follow-up, Dr. Cooley, for your whole audience, I have the list still that my teacher put together. He won a Lifetime Achievement Award. I'll speed this up, $50,000, and he spent it taking every food in the U.S. Department of Agricultural's database. And he created something called the Lands equation. So I'll send you a list that you can send out to all of your viewers with the highest omega-6 foods at the top, and then the highest omega-3 foods at the top. And before we had the blood spot test, do you remember this, Dr. Garko?
Yep.
Before we had that test, Dr. Lands would take you and take a highlighter, and everyone can do it, and just highlight all the foods that you're eating, and you can get your calculator and add it up. For example, the highest omega-6 foods come from grape seed oil, avocado oil, poppy seed, sesame seed, soybean, safflower, sunflower, cotton seeds. You hear the seeds? Remember what what we learned from Michael Crawford? The omega-6s come from seeds. The highest omega-3 foods come from fish. So I was waiting to be on the show live to share this with you, Dr. Cooley. I'll email you the two lists. There's no commercial information. It's just every food, and all of your viewers can take a look at it. And here's one last analogy. Look at your shopping cart when you're going around the supermarket. If the omega-3s come from cold water oily fish or greens, seaweed, or algae, how many dollars out of $100 in your shopping cart are going to omega-6s versus omega-3s? If you're going to be in balance, it would be 50 cents of every dollar. So half of your shopping cart would be mackerel, sardines, seaweed, and purslane. Ask yourself, if 50 cents of every dollar you're spending, if you're eating on omega-3s, if you're spending 80 cents of every dollar on omega-6s, 90%, 13% of our caloric energy in America comes from soybean oil. And here's my last thought, and I'll take a breath. If we could bring the omega-6s down to like 1%, you would not need to take omega-3 products because of the conversion and placement. Mm-hmm. If you got your omega-6s down to 1%, your omega-3s would naturally go up because they compete for conversion and placement. That's why this is a nuanced conversation, and I'm so grateful that you gave us time to go unpack it today with you.
I am so happy about this. We're going to take a station break because I want to save 2 minutes. So we're going to take this break early so we can really hit it on the last segment. And I tell you what, my great viewers out there, I see you watching. I see you watching on all the platforms, but you ain't saying anything. That's okay. I hope you're learning. When we get back, we're going to talk a lot more about the omega-3s, omega-6s, and some of the things that you should be doing in order to be able to get your body in balance. I think that's so important. So, I'll tell you what, whichever platform you're watching this on, go to the comments, ask any questions that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break. back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and anything we do in life, we sometimes we reminisce about certain things. The older that I've become, and I've been in the fitness field all of my life, and learning new things from you guys, and being able to share with the world what we're talking about, some things that can make them more healthy or can help them get started in being healthier. And Omega-3, Omega-6, I believe plays a major role in some supplements that will help them jumpstart their journey. But also know that there are other supplements that pair with what we're talking about with that can help cleanse the body, help replace meals, and help do a whole lot of things, to get them in the right framework of mind and mind, and to help them understand if they want to listen. So I want to talk about that this segment. So still Omega-3, Omega-6, the benefits of it from a perspective of a person just not taking it. And I want you guys to tell them where they can get this product from. I mean, if they don't know where they can get the product from, we just tell them they're gonna walk in the store and grab something that's not even good.
So
I don't know if that makes any sense.
So one way for them to get in touch with the product is for them to contact you, and you can direct them. We didn't want to come on here and mention brands and start doing that, but what do you think about that, Stuart?
I think that's a great idea. Or they can also, reach out to you, Dr. Garko, too, or me if they would like some more follow-up information. I did send Dr. Michelle right now during the break, Dr. Cooley, the 2 documents that I promised you, the list of the omega-6 foods and the omega-3 foods. And then finally, there's something I wrote years ago with the help of many of the top omega-3 scientists called the Essential Debate. Do you remember that one, Dr. Garko?
I do.
When I wrote that with Dr. Lanz and Dr. Scott and Dr. Carey and Dr. Bibas. So I sent that over to Michelle so she can share that with your entire audience.
So, Dr. Cooley, this conversation on this topic is one that is an extended narrative. It probably would take a number of visits onto the show to begin to really have the audience. It takes a while to grasp the nuance and the significance of what we're talking about here today. For some, this is the first time I'm sure of it. Most of my clients, I would say 80% of my clients, didn't know what the omega-6, omega-3 ratio was until I introduced it to them. So that's not a crime. And that's why we're here. So I would, hope that we would be able to come back and share more with you and your audience in terms of what to do. One of the things that you certainly want to do is start to eat a more balanced diet where it's more of a Mediterranean diet,
why don't you tell our audience what is a Mediterranean diet?
A Mediterranean diet is one that's constituted of fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, legumes, right? It's more green than it is anything else. It's really a colorful kind of diet. If you go on the internet, there's so much information about the Mediterranean diet. If you go on PubMed.gov and type in Mediterranean diet and any other keyword you want to put next to it, heart disease, cancer, you name it, you'll be there for days and hours and days. There have been thousands of studies on the Mediterranean diet. That diet is, I just can't tell you. It's a dietary pairing of fish, olive oil, nuts, seeds, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. The other thing you need to do is replace these refined seed oils with extra virgin olive oil or other monounsaturated oils. And then what Stuart and I would strongly recommend, because it's one of the more easier things to do. Somebody's not just going to automatically switch over to a Mediterranean diet. I know I'm realistic. I've learned that in my clinical practice. But one of the things they can do is take a high grade fish oil. I would love to mention the brand. I don't know if you would want me to do that on air. I'd be happy to do it, and you can get in touch. One way to learn more about that is to get in touch with Dr. Cooley or with me. I'm easy to get a hold of. I'll give you my email address. It's Dr. Michael Garko, all lowercase, Dr. Michael Garko, Garko at brighthouse.com. And Dr. Cooley he can provide that to you.
Dr. Garko, you see the private chat on your side?
I do. I don't. Oh yeah, I see 4 people.
So if you can put that in the private chat.
And can I add one thing really quick, Dr. Cooley? The list that you're going to share with your entire following, just look at the top sources of omega-6s in your life. Okay, Joe Hibbelin, MD from the National Institutes of Health. He's one of my great teachers. He's a meme master. So he's the top of public health, captain in the Army. He calls himself a uniformed officer in the Surgeon General's Army. They almost opened a department for him at the Department of Defense. And he's the master at simplifying. Here's what he said: nix the 6 and eat the 3. Nix the 6 and eat the 3. And so by looking at that list, eliminate all of the highest omega-6 seed oils in your life. Remember, if we can get omega-6 down to 1%, we're going to get 8% omega-3 in our red blood cell. I also recommend a book on the Mediterranean diet. If you agree, Dr. Garko, The Omega Diet, The Diet of the Island of Crete by Artemis Simopoulos, MD. Brilliant. She's 93 years old. She's the godmother of the omega-6-3 balance. And that's a great book. I'm sure that's in your library too, Dr. Garko, right?
Right behind me.
Right, The Omega Diet by Artemis Simopoulos. I think those are also good suggestions too.
So what happens too, Stuart? Not only Dr. Cooley, not only are we saying that people shouldn't be consuming the seed oils from a bottle. The seed oils are in processed foods. I'll give you the short list: cookies, crackers, cakes, chips, cupcakes, croissants, loaded with salt, sugar, and fat. And the fat that they're putting in there is derived from seed oils. So that's why this ultra processed food diet is jacking up the omega-6 in people's bodies and why they're out of balance. That is one of the major contributing factors. It's not as if they're guzzling down these oils from a jug or a bottle. They're getting it from the foods that they're eating. These oils fat makes food taste better. People love the taste of fat. We do. And that's why they put it in these foods, these ultra processed foods. So avoiding those cookies, crackers, cakes, chips, cupcakes, and whatnot is a sort of easy to remember, and try to eat more plant-based foods, right? The vegetables, the seeds, the nuts, the fruits, and so on. And if you can get a high-grade fish oil product, I am so tempted to just tell them what the product is.
Well, I want to add one more technical thing, if I can. This is a good visualization. When they made those oils, the omega-6s, they're shelf stable. If you've ever gone fishing, my grandpa grew up fishing up and down the Mississippi River as a kid, right? You get a fish in the summertime on a boat, in an hour, it starts to smell. Well, these omega-6s are rigid molecules, and the omega-3s are really, really flexible. So the other part of this conversation is not only are you running high systemic inflammation, your cell membranes are thick and sticky, which means nutrients are having a hard time getting in and waste products are having a hard time getting out. So what we're talking about, cellular health, aren't we, Dr. Garko? This is really returning every cell to its optimal structure and function.
Life begins and ends, Dr. Cooley, on a cellular level. And the cell is a miraculous, if you look at one cell out of the human body and look at it under a microscope, if you don't believe in the Almighty, you take a look at that. You take a look at that cell. It's a microcosm of the cosmos.
2 minutes,
right?
2 minutes.
It reflects the miracle of our existence. So, again, when I was interviewed not long ago on CBS, and I was asked if there was one dietary supplement, Dr. Garko, that you would take, what would it be? And without hesitation, in the flash of the light, I said, fish oil. And the interviewer was surprised. I thought you were going to say a multiple vitamin and mineral. He said, why would you just take a fish oil product? And if that was the only one, I said, because there's omega-3 fatty acids are involved from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and every cell and cell membrane of your body. And most people walking the earth, when they put their feet on the floor this morning, weren't thinking about cell membranes and omega-6, omega-3, but that's why we're here today.
You know what? We're out of time right now.
Oh, my goodness.
So
it's getting warmed up.
I hope that we get an opportunity to do this again. But this is so interesting, and I think viewers and our listeners got a whole lot out of this. I'm hoping that we are able to create a partnership, like I mentioned, and where we can get somebody on.
Well, when we come back, if we can come back, we can tell people how they can get their omega-6, omega-3 ratio measured simply at home. We'll lead them to the right product, and we'll present all of that so that they can experience better health.
Okay, so we're out of time. I'd like to thank both of you guys for taking the time to come on the show.
Of course.
Thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another show. Most important, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning in. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life. We'll see you then.
Dr. James.